Something deeply unsettling is happening behind closed doors in Britain's intelligence circles. A newly declassified threat assessment drawn from MI5, MI6, GCHQ, and the Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre warns that the UK faces a rising and unpredictable threat from Iran. This is not a distant or hypothetical worry, but a real and evolving danger that could strike on British soil at any time. This isn't the first time Iran has made headlines for hostile actions abroad, but officials say this report is different. It describes a sharp escalation in both activity and boldness. Iran is no longer content to wage covert influence only via Middle Eastern proxies or regional power plays. It is now bringing its campaign of pressure, subversion, and retaliation directly to the West. And the United Kingdom, it seems, is in Tehran's crosshairs. British intelligence agencies are sounding the alarm. The report depicts Iran's strategy as erratic and escalatory, with the regime becoming increasingly emboldened in its aggression. Iran's playbook resembles hybrid warfare, a mix of cyber attacks, targeted harassment, disinformation, and even planned physical attacks, all under the veil of plausible deniability. What makes this threat especially alarming is its unpredictability. UK security officials warn that Tehran has grown more volatile than at any point in the last decade, shifting from diplomacy to aggression with little notice. That volatility, paired with Iran's expanding technological reach, makes it a uniquely dangerous challenge. This is the alarm bell. And for Britain, ignoring it could carry a very steep price. As one senior official put it, the threat is here, it's growing, and it demands our full attention. The intelligence report at the heart of this warning is a joint assessment from the UK's security services. Circulated among senior government figures, its contents are direct and chilling. It states that Iran is the most active hostile state actor operating on British soil. That alone marks a departure from the guarded language typical of such documents. According to the report, Iran's threat manifests in three main areas. First, covert plots. Since early 2022, UK authorities have disrupted at least 20 Iranian-linked assassination or kidnapping plots targeting UK-based individuals. Victims included dissidents, journalists, dual-national politicians, and exiled regime critics. These weren't idle threats. Many of the plots were operational, involving surveillance, hired criminals, and tracking movements across British cities. Second, cyber attacks. Iran's cyber division, tied to the Revolutionary Guard, has increased its operations against the UK. Attacks have targeted British universities, critical infrastructure, and government email systems. Phishing campaigns have impersonated UK academics and officials to extract sensitive data. Parliament itself has been targeted in previous years, and there's rising concern over potential intrusions into healthcare and energy networks. Third, disinformation and radicalization. Iranian-linked campaigns have grown more sophisticated. Fake accounts spread anti-Western narratives and amplify social unrest, often mirroring Kremlin-style tactics. Disinformation often focuses on Israel, Gaza, or sanctions, attempting to sway UK public opinion or inflame domestic protests. What's even more concerning is that Iran seems increasingly indifferent to hiding its involvement. Intelligence agencies warn that Tehran is abandoning plausible deniability, signaling a new level of confidence and aggression. For the UK, this is no longer a theoretical threat. It's a hostile regime willing to operate on British soil, and it's getting bolder. To understand Iran's aggression, we must examine the broader geopolitical context. Iran isn't randomly choosing Britain. This is calculated. The UK has long opposed Iran's nuclear ambitions. As a key participant in the 2015 nuclear deal, and later a vocal critic of Iran's enrichment program, Britain has repeatedly pushed for sanctions and international pressure on Tehran. Iran sees this as sabotage, not diplomacy. Beyond that, the UK's close ties with the US and Israel, Tehran's sworn enemies, make it a prime target. From intelligence sharing to military operations, Britain is viewed by Iran as a core member of what it calls the Western Israeli Axis. There's also history. Iran's leaders haven't forgotten British colonial-era influence or the 1953 coup in Iran backed by the UK. More recently, when protesters stormed the British embassy in Tehran in 2011. Diplomatic ties were cut. Though later restored, that incident left deep scars. Then there are military confrontations. The Royal Navy has intercepted Iranian weapons bound for conflict zones, and Britain seized an Iranian oil tanker in 2019, triggering a retaliatory seizure of a UK ship. In Iran's eyes, Britain is not just a political opponent, it's a disruptor to its global ambitions, and asymmetric warfare, including cyber attacks, propaganda, and covert plots, is now seen by Tehran as legitimate retaliation. This isn't speculation. The Iranian threat has already reached UK streets. Since 2022, MI5 and counter-terror police have foiled at least 20 plots involving Iranian-linked operatives. These included plans to kidnap or assassinate individuals in London and other major cities. Targets were often connected to Iran International, a Persian-language media outlet critical of Tehran. In one case, suspects were caught surveilling journalists' homes and workplaces. Threat levels were so high that Iran International moved its operations from London to the United States for safety. Armed police had to be stationed outside the studio before the relocation. Another incident involved a journalist stabbed outside his London home. He survived, but investigators believe it was an assassination attempt orchestrated by Iran using hired criminals. On the cyber front, Iranian hackers have targeted UK universities, especially those involved in nuclear research. Emails crafted to impersonate internal communications were used to gain access to sensitive data. Meanwhile, Iranian-linked groups have attempted to breach government emails, and British authorities fear that Iranian proxies, including Hezbollah operatives, could be embedded in UK-based extremist circles. A past case revealed a Hezbollah sleeper cell in London stockpiling explosives. British agencies are treating this as a quiet war, one that's playing out in the shadows every day across the UK. What's happening in the UK mirrors a larger pattern of Iranian strategy worldwide. Iran rarely engages in open conflict. Instead, it relies on asymmetric tactics, cyber warfare, disinformation, and covert operations using proxies. Its aim is disruption, not destruction, to make its adversaries feel vulnerable and disoriented. Across Europe, Iranian plots have been exposed. In France, an Iranian diplomat was convicted of planning a bomb attack at a dissident rally. In Germany, a spy was caught photographing Jewish community centers. In the US, Iran plotted to assassinate a former national security advisor. The UK is now part of this global campaign. Its open society, free press, and diverse communities provide both opportunity and cover for Iranian operatives. Why now? Iran is under immense pressure. Protests at home, economic collapse, and diplomatic isolation have left the regime more desperate and aggressive. Western sanctions have tightened. Allies like Hezbollah are under pressure in Lebanon and Syria. The UK's vocal stance on Iran, its naval presence in the Gulf, and support for Israel make it a prime lightning rod. This is not random hostility. It's a deliberate strategy, and the UK is now on the front lines. With the threat exposed, the UK is responding. Security services have increased surveillance of Iranian-linked networks. GCHQ is boosting cyber defenses, and counter-terrorism police have expanded their authority to preempt and disrupt hostile state activity. A new multi-agency task force is being formed, involving MI5, MI6, the Foreign Office, and the Ministry of Defense. Their mission: track, deter, and if necessary, retaliate against Iranian operations in Britain and abroad. Legally, the UK is taking bold steps. Iran has been added to the enhanced tier of the Foreign Influence Registration Scheme. Anyone acting on Tehran's behalf must register or face prosecution. Sanctions are also expanding, with new targets including Iranian officials and suspected proxies. There's political pressure to go further. Many MPs are calling for the IRGC to be designated a terrorist group, something the US has already done. While the government is reviewing the legal implications, there is growing consensus that the IRGC must be formally restricted in the UK. Iran's diplomatic presence in London is also under scrutiny. Intelligence agencies believe some embassy staff may be involved in covert activities beyond standard diplomacy. Internationally, the UK is coordinating with NATO, the Five Eyes Alliance, and European partners. Allies are being warned to expect similar tactics and advised to strengthen their cyber infrastructure and protect vulnerable communities. This is not just a British problem. It's a new chapter in how the West confronts state-backed hybrid warfare. Iran isn't seeking a conventional war, but it is trying to prove it can reach anyone, anywhere, and get away with it. The UK's response now will determine whether that message stands or is answered with unity, action, and resolve.